Hello, viewers. Today, let's brew some delicious Korean rice wine. Let's have some more fun with scraps. And today's brew will be a floral brew. We're going to use 4 kinds of dried flowers to make this brew. So that's what you're going to see today. If you like this video, please click that like button and subscribe. Please click the bell to be notified when I publish a new video on the subject of rustic Asian rice wine every week. And please share this video wherever it is appropriate. I really appreciate your help in spreading the word about rustic Asian rice wine. So let's get to it. Let's brew. So this is going to be a 2-stage brew, and Iyangju in the first stage is going to be bombok. So I'm starting off with 200 grams of rice flour. And in the spirit of using the scraps of rice flour that I have, I'm going to use the rest of this package of rice flour and some more of this kind of sweet rice flour. So the total is 200 grams altogether. And I'm going to make bombok. I'm going to boil more than 800 milliliters of water, have that boiling, drip that into the rice flour, and as you're stirring, and do this in small batches, I have this bowl on a scale, so I'll know exactly when I've added 800 milliliters of water. So that's how to make bombok. Stir it up so that it's reasonably smooth. This is a kind of undercooked rice porridge, and for some reason, it's really suitable for the first stage of brewing. So here's the enzymes in the nuruk. I'm going to use 90 grams of nuruk and 200 milliliters of water and half a teaspoon of wine yeast. Mix that together and set it aside. What we're doing, we're waiting for the bombok to cool to room temperature. It needs to be below 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And feel the texture here. And the temperature is good. Let's add the nuruk mixture in. And now this needs to be stirred for about 5 minutes at least. Want this to get more liquid. We need to pour this into the fermentation jar, which I have already sanitized. So here it is. I'll pour that carefully in. No need to rush. Don't want to spill this. This is the precious first stage. And just clean that off a bit and keep the lid loose and put it somewhere to ferment. It should be cool and dark place to ferment. That'll be the best. And then the next state, let's take a look. There's some bubbles on the top. Let's look at the top. Yes, it is bubbling. It is fermenting away. This is good. It's actually fairly active already. Well, it's to be expected. That's what we want, and that's what we expect. I'm going to stir it twice today. And also, I'm going to get ready for the next stage, which is godubab. And for this, I'm going to use this Thai sweet rice, which I've experimented with before, and it's worked fine. It's what I have the most of, so I'm going to use it. And like any rice, it should be washed. Wash and rinse repeatedly till the water gets fairly clear. But if you're rough, the water will never get clear. So you need to be gentle. And it's, again, this is worth taking your time with, but don't wash it for more than 10 or 15 minutes. That's enough. That's all you need to do. And once it's washed, you want to soak this overnight. I'm going to soak this, and next day, check on the first stage, and it's calmed down a bit. It's not bubbling as much. I'm going to stir it again, but I am going to get the floral part of this recipe ready. I have lavender, I have osmanthus, I have chamomile, and I have this hibiscus flower. These are all dried flowers. I'm going to try to mix them in a reasonable proportion. I'm going to use 4 grams of osmanthus, which is very peachy in aroma and flavor. I'm going to use 8 grams of hibiscus, which has more sour flavor, but also has great color. Really enjoyed the brew I made with hibiscus before. And I'm going to use only 2 grams of lavender. Lavender is so powerful. I really have a lot of it, but I don't want it to overwhelm the other floral flavors. I'm just going to use 2 grams. And I'm going to use 8 grams of chamomile. Relatively subtle flavor, the chamomile, so that should be appropriate. But I'm just making it up as I go along. I don't really know if this is the ideal mixture of these flowers. So now that I've measured out the flowers, let's drain the rice that has been soaking overnight. Rinse it off, and it'll need to drain for 30 minutes. Get the steamer ready with the wet cloth and put in the rice, and then put the dried flowers, in the middle of the rice. So add the remaining rice on top. Now these flowers, especially the hibiscus, will stain the cloth because they're quite, they will dye the cloth. So I'm using an older cloth here. I don't mind it getting stained. And I'm going to steam this for 30 minutes. That's suitable because this Thai sweet rice cooks a bit faster than the chop sal I normally use. And so there's the godu bap, the hard steamed rice. Lift it carefully out of the steamer, and I'm going to spread this out to cool. I want this to cool to room temperature again. This is the second stage, the godu bap. It needs to cool down before we add it. Stir it one more time, and then now that it's cooled down, add the godu bap to the first stage. I'm going to mix this by hand, and then I have some other thoughts. I am going to add water. I'm going to add 400 milliliters of water to this. So this is going to have more than enough water now that it's mixed together. Leave the lid loose again, put it in the cabinet, and now it's going to continue. Now let's watch the fermentation day by day. And the very next day, day 3, already see a layer of liquid on the bottom. Looks good on top. Then day 4, that layer of liquid is larger. And we'll just keep watching this every day. Some rice has started to fall. Now, if I noticed a lot of the flowers have gathered on the top. If it stays that way, I might stir it later on, or I might just leave it. The liquid does seem to be colored, dyed by the hibiscus, so that's good. Yeah, so I might just leave it. And some of the flowers are falling to the bottom as well. So the top looks good, still rather moist and no mold or anything, so that's great. And the layer of liquid, the layer of liquid is rising, and more of the rice is falling to the bottom. And I'm going to use that as a guide for how long I keep this fermenting. It smells good. I smell this every day, make sure it's doing well. It is very floral. Now there is an effect. I'm not just adding these as a flavor to the end. This is part of the fermentation process. It's soaking in this alcohol for a long time. So I do expect a strong flavor from this. I'm expecting a lot of flavor to be extracted. Now day 19 looks ready to me. It's bottling day. So boil my nylon filter bag. Stir it now in preparation for filtering. Fit that nylon filter bag over the jar, and I tip the whole thing over. Great, that looks good. And oh yeah, it's just dripping out nicely. Yeah, it was really liquid and soft. Pretty easy to squeeze out. Yeah, it feels good. And it's 259 grams of jjigae meat. I was able to squeeze that quite well. And I end up, let's fill my bottles, my clean bottles, fill those up. I end up with 2 liters of output. And now let's do the bonus bowl. I return the jjigae meat to the filter bag and add an additional 150 milliliters of water and really squeeze that. There's still more flavor in the jjigae meat that I want to get out. I don't want to waste anything. Let's really massage that and squeeze it. Get an additional extraction of 27 grams. And it really is my bonus bowl. I get to drink that right now. That's the bonus for the brewer. And I get to see what the flavor is at the most fresh. And it is a bit bitter. There is a lot of flavor extracted from those flowers, and some of those flavors are bitter and medicinal. That's to be expected. It's not bad, but it is quite intense. This did extract a lot of flavor from those flowers, and I'm going to give you the full story right now. So it's been 3 days, and I can't wait to taste this. This is the flower brew, the fun with scraps, 4 kinds of flowers in this. Let's see what it tastes like. We got a good separation. The sediment is at the bottom. Good percentage of chongju, and the chongju is pinkish orange, and it's not really totally transparent yet. It's still a bit cloudy. This doesn't feel too carbonated, so I should be able to open this successfully. I would like to try the chongju separately. So this is the chongju layer here. At the bottom is the takju. Yeah, no problem. Oh yeah. Okay. So no problem opening this. I'm going to try the chongju now. Okay, so here it is. It is pinkish orange, not transparent. Does smell very floral. The lavender is pretty strong, but does have some nice fruity aroma. Okay, so it tastes like it should be quite intense. Let's have a sip. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a bouquet of flowers right there. It is medicinal tasting. Those dried flowers were soaking in the alcohol for quite some time, for weeks, and that's going to extract some bitterness, and that's intentional. If I didn't want that to happen, I wouldn't have put it in there so early. So I sort of knew what I was getting into. Yeah, but the bitterness is fairly, yeah, this tastes bitter and medicinal to start with. Lots of aroma. Yeah, pretty intense flavor. Reasonably strong in alcohol. In the middle, a bit fruity. And it's quite dry. Yeah, this is not sour. Not really tart either. And not sweet. The main thing you get is the bitterness and astringency. Yeah, so it does taste like it should be good for you, like it is medicinal. I'm not sure what effect this purportedly would have, but it is alcohol and it has an intense flavor. If I mix this up, let's consider the wanju. Okay, and it not too hard to mix up. Let's see what this flavor is like. With the takju mixed together, so obviously it's thicker. So aroma is still emphasis, of course, is on the floral aroma. That's really there. There's something else. Maybe it is. Maybe I didn't notice it before, but it does smell a bit spicy too. Okay, a lot more lavender flavor with including the sediment. Yeah, now the middle is really dominated by the lavender. Okay, so this is even more intense than the changju. There's even more flavor in this. I didn't use that much lavender, especially compared with when I brewed with lavender before, but yes, it just shows me how strong that flavor is and how much flavor is extracted by being in alcohol for that length of time. Yeah, there's just a sip of this. That's very little original lavender, but a lot of flavor. Okay, and the aftertaste, I would say, is less astringent than the changju. This is so intense. I'm going to see what it's like if I dilute it to makgeolli strength, so approximately 1-to-1 with water. And I'm using sparkling water. See what effect that has on the flavor. Okay, for something like this, that does help it taste sweeter, not as overwhelming. More refreshing with the additional water. You have a chance to enjoy the flavors without being assaulted by them. So this is definitely better with the addition of water. Yes, so the changju by itself, very medicinal. The wanju changes the flavor a bit, but still so intense. In fact, even more lavender flavor than before. And then adding water, that gives you a chance to taste more of the flavors in it, not just the lavender. It's more refreshing, better. It's easier to taste this, easier to drink this. So for this, I am going to dilute this Drink it roughly at makgeolli strength, diluted 1-to-1 with water. That should be good. Yeah, okay, this is much more enjoyable now, not as medicinal. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. So I'm glad I was able to brew something with the remnants of various materials, ingredients I had around in the kitchen. I'm glad I was able to brew with it and try this out. There's plenty more things to try. Let me know what you're brewing. Thank you for watching.